Good morning. I would like to call this April 4th meeting of the Planning and Advisory Commission to order. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I would like to remind folks in the audience, and actually my commissioners as well, myself, if you have a cell phone, please make sure it is silenced so that we don't have phones going off during our meeting. I would like to remind those in the audience and those watching on television that this is the first hearing of any rezoning, text change, or special exception request brought before us today. We will first hear a reading of the staff report for the case by the planning staff and ask the applicant to provide a brief overview of the request. We will then give the opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to inquire about the request. The commissioners will have any needed discussion in the case, and once a motion is made and seconded by the commission, a vote will take place and a recommendation will be rendered. The case will go back to the planning department for their independent recommendation, and if a favorable recommendation is given, then the case is forwarded to City Council with the two independent recommendations. If the planning department makes a recommendation for denial, the applicant will have 10 days from the receipt of a letter stating that it was denied and to notify the clerk of council that they are requesting to be placed on the City Council's agenda. The City Council of Columbus will hold a public meeting called the first reading. The said council will consider the case, review PAC and planning department recommendations, and hear discussion on the matter. And then the council will make a final decision at a second public meeting, also known as the second reading. We do have minutes that were distributed to the commissioners earlier, and if we do not have any changes that need to be made, we can submit them as approved, but I do want to ask commissioners, were there any changes or additions that needed to be made to the minutes? I see none, so we will submit those as approved, and then we'll go ahead and move into our very first case. This first case is REZN-03-18-0424, and this is a request to rezone 5.3 acres of land located at 7675 and 7697 Kane Boulevard. The current zoning is GC, which is general commercial, and the proposed zoning is RO, residential office. The proposed use is residential multifamily community. Joseph Johnson is the applicant, and this property is located in Council District 2, Davis. And since Mr. Renfro is on vacation this week, Mr. Johnson, if you will read the staff report for us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This case is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan planning area A. The future land use designation is general commercial. It is compatible with existing land uses. The property does not lie within the floodway and floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to issuance of a site development permit. The property is served by all city services. There will be no traffic impact. The site shall meet the codes and regulations of the Columbus Consolidated Government for commercial usage. There'll be no school impact, no buffer requirements. This is not within Fort Benning's notification range. This is not a DRI. 15 property owners within 300 feet of the subject properties were notified of the rezoning request. The planning department received one call inquiring about what they wanted to do and received an email in opposition to the rezoning from the hotel owner on Veterans Court that backs up to it. And there's no additional information.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Commissioners, are there any questions for Mr. Johnson regarding the staff report?
Mr. Johnson, quick question. With that opposition, was there reasoning behind it other than just not wanting it to happen?
It was all about property values, but I believe Mr. Mize has more information regarding the person in opposition and what they're trying to do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions regarding the staff report? Okay, so we have the applicant coming forward. Mr. Mize is actually representing the applicant. And if you will introduce yourself and give us a brief overview.
Sure. My name is George Mize. I'm with the law firm of Page Crown, and I'm representing the applicant, which is an investor management company of Valdosta, which is a fully vertically integrated company taking the development process from development to construction to management all in-house. The company is family-owned and operated. They specialize in developing multifamily apartment complexes, both affordable as well as market rate. They've been in business since 1981, and since that time, they've developed over 52 apartment complexes and 2,700 units, all in the state of Georgia, and they currently have 3 developments under construction now in Fort Valley, Albany, and Macon. And here with me on behalf of the company is Mr. Joseph Johnson, the development director. I'd like to turn your attention, if you would, to assuming you have your booklets.
We do, thank you.
Is the first tab entitled Site Plan and Location Map, just to give you guys an idea of what we're planning to do in the location of the property. But we're seeking to rezone really downzone property of about 5.4 acres from GC to RO. The property is located at 7675 and 7697 Kane Boulevard, just east of Veterans Parkway and just west of Lindsay Creek. It's right behind the American Red Cross Blood Donation Center right there on Veterans Parkway. And to further identify where it is, and you can see it on the location map, but it's about a block north of El Vaquero and Extreme Power Sports. I'd also like to turn your attention to the second tab entitled Zoning Map, just to give you an idea of the zoning of the property and the surrounding property. We believe the RO classification is suitable for the subject property, and it's consistent and compatible with surrounding land uses. As you can see to the south and the southeast, there's a substantial amount of property already zoned RO. And as you see to the west, this property is zone GC, and to the east, the property is zone residential. We believe the RO classification is excellent transitional zoning, buffering the GC zoning to the west with the residential zoning to the east, and we believe that it well balances the interests of the developer, the owners, and the neighbors. And I know it's inconsistent with the comprehensive plan according to the staff report, but we believe it's consistent with the comprehensive plan's designation of this area as a regional activity center. And a regional activity center is a mixture of commercial, residential, and institutional uses that also encourages pedestrian traffic. Well, unfortunately, the residences in this area really aren't close to the retail businesses and all to encourage walking, but this development will certainly be close enough to encourage pedestrian access and will help us meet one of the many goals of the activity center. I direct your attention to the last of the third tab entitled Elevations or Interior Designs, just to get an idea of the quality of the product. And what my client is proposing to develop is a high-quality mixed-income development of 80 units, consisting of 70 units affordable to seniors and 30 which will be market-rate units. The development will be known as the Highlands at Kane Boulevard, and as you can see from the photographs behind the tab of some of the other developments that this developer has done, we're talking about a very attractive apartment complex at a development cost in excess of $18 million. Demand for senior housing, over 25% of the people in Columbus are over 55 years of age, and we expect that demographic to continue to grow. And as that demographic continues to grow, the current housing stock in Columbus is just not going to be sufficient to meet the growing demands. Also, the need and demand for affordable senior housing has never been greater. As you guys know, senior citizens are often required to live on fixed incomes, and that income is being depleted each year with rising health care costs. Unfortunately, senior citizens who are forced to spend some money on their housing are often put in the situation of having to decide, do I pay my rent or do I pay for my medicines, my groceries, or other essentials? And we believe that this project will help in that regard by providing 56 affordable units for seniors who reach the 60% median income in Columbus, which is about $30,000. The primary goal of this development is to create an affordable senior housing development that can reconnect these seniors with their community. And this location is ideal for this particular development, particularly given its proximity to public transportation, Double Churches Park, the North Side Medical Center and surrounding medical services. Jobs, shops, and restaurants are within walking distance, which should help provide a higher standard of living for these seniors. The Highlands will also offer a robust social programming for its senior residents, including educational programming, health screenings, outreach programs that connect them to the surrounding area, and it also have a community building which will provide and have fitness center, media room, library, computer room, and have a room with fireplaces in it for them. I also want to talk a minute about the quality of the construction and the Earthcraft certification that they'll get. This developer is committed to an innovative design approach to ensure that the Highlands are environmentally friendly and enhance the character of the local surroundings. They've received numerous awards from Earthcraft for advancing sustainable, affordable, and energy-efficient designs. And this particular project will be built to the, quote, Earthcraft Multifamily Platinum Standard, which is the highest standard that Earthcraft offers. And on average, these units are about 30% more energy efficient than normal units, which of course is great for the environment, but it's also great for the pocketbooks of our residents. As you can imagine, this particular certification is very expensive to obtain, but it is standard operating procedure for this particular developer. The project will certainly be buffered in accordance with the UDO, but I wanted to point out that there's a large buffer on the east side that's offered by Lindsay Creek, which will buffer the project from the project itself from the residents to the east. And according to our calculations, from property line to property line, you're looking at a buffer that's more than 200 feet wide. And as I say, from brick to brick, you're looking at over 330 feet wide in buffer. All public facilities and infrastructure available at the site, and there'll be no negative impact to those facilities or infrastructure, nor will there be any reason for additional investment by the city in that regard. And as the staff report indicates, that any traffic, that small amount of traffic generated by this particular development will not have any negative impact to the surrounding roads or to the transportation network. This development will certainly have a very positive economic impact to the city and its citizens. We expect during the 13-month construction phase to create about 100 construction jobs. In addition to that, we'll generate substantial business for local suppliers, subcontractors, electricians, plumbers, and others that support the construction industry. And of course, once the development is done, we'll be creating permanent jobs and creating permanent business for independent contractors that provide such services as landscaping, maintenance and repair, cleaning, printing, carpet replacement, and painting. This development also provides a substantial increase in the tax base for ad valorem tax purposes, thus providing a substantial economic return to the city, again, without having any adverse impact on the existing facilities and infrastructure and without requiring any additional investment on the city's part. In particular, we estimate that with respect to ad valorem taxes, increasing the receipts to the city from the combined total of about $18,000 a year to over $100,000 a year. In addition, there'll be a substantial increase in revenues to the city in connection with this development. In particular, up front, there'll be sales tax receipts we estimated about $900,000 through the sale and purchase of millions of dollars of construction materials, and an additional $110,000+ in connection with impact and other permitting fees. We believe our request and our application for rezoning meet all of the requirements for rezoning. The proposed RO classification is consistent and compatible with surrounding land uses and serves as excellent transitional zoning, that all facilities and infrastructure are located at the site. There'll be no negative impact to those facilities or infrastructure, nor to the transportation network. We believe the project provides a substantial economic benefit to the city and its citizens. Therefore, we respectfully request that you approve our application and you recommend approval to council. And I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
I do have a question, and this is really more just information. The Fort Valley, Albany, and Macon locations that you talked about, are they completed, and are they also the premise behind this one being affordable senior housing?
I think they're under construction, Joseph. Come on.
You have to come to the mic, sorry.
Good morning. My name's Joseph Johnson. We have a project in Macon that's about 50% complete. It should be online at the end of the year. It's a family community. It is affordable. We have 2 additional projects, one in Albany and one in Fort Valley. Fort Valley is a historic high school that's being renovated into a affordable senior community. And in Albany, we have a new construction. It's approximately 80 units, and it's 4 families.
Okay, so none of this concept hasn't actually been completed by you guys yet?
Yes, it has. Those are just the projects we currently
Gotcha.
have
Okay.
going, but we have 52 other projects.
Gotcha.
And I'd say at least 20 of those are senior.
Can you give me some idea what your occupancy rate is?
We stay at pretty full occupancy on all those projects.
Pretty full?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but
Okay.
I mean, minimal vacancies.
Okay.
It just kind of depends on where the project's located.
Yeah.
And some of those.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Commissioners, Mr. Kenner?
Just one question on traffic. the people living there will pull out onto Veterans Parkway. That's a pretty wide street, pretty busy. Is this going to be a right turn only, or will people able to turn right or left?
Ed, I don't know what the.
Right now, it's a full intersection.
Full intersection right now, and I don't know.
I'm assuming that this is a DCA tax credit project?
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you now. What these gentlemen have to do is they have to locate near public transit, services, all these types of things to hit their point numbers to hopefully win their project status from DCA, which May 24th is when you got to have it in.
That's right.
Okay. You're not the only one. So there's not as much of a focus on these types of developments with the automobile. Kane and Veterans Court are both full access streets onto Veterans. So yes, they do pull out if they're taking a left onto a 5-lane road here. Whether it would warrant a signal, right now it does not. Of course, this is a DOT road, so all that would be determined by DOT. And they look at everything from crash data to whatnot. But typically with these types of development that are senior focused, you don't drive up and see a parking lot full of vehicles.
Mr. Reese?
Yes, two quick follow-up questions. One, you mentioned in your presentation that the construction dollars, the millions, I can't remember exactly what you quoted, but you said a couple million in construction costs of supplies.
The total development costs are over 18 million. We think probably actual construction costs are in excess of 11 million.
I've checked that.
Yeah,
But
something like that. That's where I got my number for the
Okay, well, I'm
sales
sorry.
tax.
Yeah, you quoted the purchase of supplies having a local impact. So is there a commitment from the builder to buy the supplies locally?
Yes,
And that's what's been done at other locations?
yes.
We would prefer to buy as much of the material as we can locally, just because it's cheaper for us to do that instead of having it shipped in from other locations. So yeah, we focus on using local contractors, local suppliers for
Okay.
those projects.
Great. Well, that's certainly good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. And the other question is going back to the property value concern. I don't know if I missed that in your presentation, but can you touch on that again, please?
Well, and I'll let Mr. Mize expand further. The property to the south, that's RO and has the ordinance condition 13-21.
You see the
And-
blue property here? That's the owner complaining.
That was proposed for the exact same kind of use in 2013, and ground never broke on it. If I had to guess, they did not win the DCA tax credits.
I really did not understand his complaint that well, but from what I could tell, he was complaining because it would adversely affect his property value, which is that blue property I just showed you under the zoning, which in 2013 was rezoned for the purpose of putting a senior housing facility there. So I found that to be a bit odd. And then they're not here today to complain about it. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I really don't know exactly what his complaint is.
No, I think they cleared it all up for me. So the person who complained wanted to utilize their property, which
I think
borders
his brother
yours for the
bought his
same
property,
purpose.
right.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners, for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this request? If so, please come forward. And I see no one. Anyone wanting to speak against? We have no one. So do I hear a motion amongst my commissioners? Mr. King?
Just one last
Yes,
question real
sir.
quick. Is there any concerns from the staff in regards to this? You guys are okay with the proposal?
Yeah, we supported the property to the south in 2013, and we support this as well. These properties on Kane and Veterans were started when North Lake, right after North Lake and Columbus Park Crossing got really rolling along, and then when '08 hit, these have been sitting vacant, and they're trying to find alternative uses. And what we're seeing from the DCA requirements on these tax credit properties is they're looking to put these kind of developments in areas where people don't have to leave so much. You got the Social Security office at this immediate location. We have sidewalks. We have retail, restaurant, public transit. So that's why you're kind of starting to see this transition to put
Pedestrian
rooftops
friendly.
in, just like you would downtown.
All right, thank you for the history.
Mr. King.
Okay. That said, I'd like to make a motion regarding zoning case REZN 0318-0424 that we approve this case based on the fact that it's compatible with the existing land uses and it has all city services provided to it.
Do I hear a second? All right, Mr. Wallace. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And it is unanimous, so we will recommend this for approval to the Planning Department. Thank you.
Can I pick up those books?
Yes. All right, that brings us to our next case, which is REZN-03-18-0427. And this is a request to rezone 1.74 acres of land located at 3705 and 3709 Gentian Boulevard. The current zoning is NC, which is neighborhood commercial, and the proposed zoning is GC, general commercial. The current and proposed use is a shopping center. Jack Hayes is the applicant, and the property is located in Council District 5, Baker. Mr. Johnson, if you'll read the staff report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. REZN 03-18-0427. This case is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan, Planning District E. Future land use designation is light industrial. As a side note, that will be updated in the 2018 comprehensive plan. It is compatible with existing land uses. The property does not lie within a floodway or floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to issuance of a site development permit. Property is served by all city services. There will be no traffic impact. This site shall meet the codes and regulations of the Columbus Consolidated Government for commercial usage. There's no school impact, no buffer requirements. This is not within Fort Benning's notification range. This is not a DRI. 17 property owners within 300 feet of the subject properties were notified of the request. We had no responses to the request. This is the existing Gentian Shopping Center, which I believe right now maybe only have one or two businesses actually in it. And Mr. Hayes is here to present his case.
All right, thank you. If the applicant will come forward and please state your name and address and give us a brief overview.
Hey, good morning. I'm Chris Brazel with EMC Engineering Services, 3575 Macon Road, Suite 15, Columbus. We're the engineer for the applicant.
And Jack Hayes, G2 Commercial, 6680 Woodbury Road, Columbus, Georgia.
Thank you.
So as the engineer of record, I'll give you a brief overview of the proposed development. As Mr. Johnson said, this is basically a shopping center that we're all in Columbus very familiar with. There is a lot of vacancy. We're excited about the proposed development. Thank you. And we're really looking to get the general commercial designation on this subject property to just enhance the ability to attract the type of businesses that we need in this area. You know, as Will mentioned, the vacancy is an issue. As y'all saw in the package, the architect has already started some renderings of the facade of the building. It's going to get a complete renovation. Basically, new shopping spaces are going to be created. We're going to get new connectivity with the fall line trace. We are looking for a curb cut onto Reese Road to marry up with the Dollar General development that's adjacent to us. We feel like that having some activity back into the shopping center is going to be good for Columbus. It's going to be good for this area in Columbus. As Mr. Johnson mentioned, light commercial, light manufacturing in this area is probably something that is going to be changed in the future, as he's already alluded to. We're just here a little bit ahead of that plan, and we definitely hope that you will take our consideration to heart and give us the approved zoning designation as we requested.
Thank you. Mr. Hayes, do you have something to add?
Thank you, Catherine. Again, Jack Hayes. This is an example of blight in our community, and this is something that my partners and I identified as an opportunity. The previous property owner allowed the property to go into disarray, lots of wood rot, roof leaks, and the tenants over time began to leave the property because it wasn't being properly maintained. We're really excited about this project. It's an opportunity for us to reinvest back into our community using local engineers, local architects, local contractors. That area is completely underserved. At one point in the early 90s, this was a vibrant, thriving neighborhood shopping center, and we humbly ask for your request to approve general commercial zoning so we can attract the tenants that we'd like to see there. I'm available for your
Thank you.
questions.
Mr. King?
What type of businesses would you be targeting for this strip shop?
A variety, but to give you an idea, the tenant selection is very important to us. And I was quoted in the paper, I believe, about a month ago with some of the uses. We're looking for pizzeria, sandwich shops, beauty salon, nail salons, insurance offices. We'd love to get some sort of active use because one of our goals is to interconnect with the trail. Hence, we're renaming the shopping center to Trailside Shops. But again, we're spending a lot of money on the exterior renovations. We're going to be removing the end caps of the buildings and adding parapets. It's going to be new exteriors, new paints. We're kind of go for a craftsman's kind of style look. And so our tenant selection is going to be very important to us.
Thank you. Mr. Kenner?
Yep. This will be a renovation primarily. It won't be a tear down and rebuild.
No, sir. The bones of the building are good, but we will be replacing the roofs. We'll be replacing the air conditioning units. We've already pretty much demolished the interiors, but we're utilizing existing studs and foundations and parking lots. It's just makeup, really.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you very much. There is no one in the audience, so I don't feel the need to call for anyone to come and speak forward or against, so we'll skip that. Do I hear a motion?
Well, I do have one more question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
If you don't mind.
No.
Mr. Johnson, do you expect the planning, the updated comprehensive plan to move this area to GC or something?
Yes,
Similar?
and, you know, looking at the, and I've already gone through and reviewed all the future land use maps, and there's just some things you miss when you're doing it by parcel, like we've been doing it since '08. You know, Milgen does have a lot of light industrial once you get past the post office.
Yeah.
But it was just overlooked in '08, and it creeped all the way up past Reese Road in the comprehensive plan. All that will be fixed and reflect positively what's actually there, because there's nothing industrial west of the post office.
Right.
And also, you have recommended approval of 2 other properties right across the street from this to GC in the last 2 years.
We have.
So this is a consistent trend that you all have been seeing.
Yeah, that was the, yeah, I remember that specifically. Any other questions, Commissioner? Mr. Reese?
No questions.
Oh, okay.
Make a motion.
All right, so Mr. Reese will offer a motion for this.
In regards to REZN 03180427, a request to rezone 1.74 acres of land located at 3705 and 3709 Gentian Boulevard, currently zoned neighborhood commercial, proposed zoning general commercial, and with no major objections from the staff, I move that we approve this request.
And a second, Mr. Greenblatt. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And it is unanimous, so we will submit that as approved. And thank you for coming forward for that. We have nothing else on our agenda, no special exceptions, no new business, no old business. So we are adjourned. Thank you.